They say, well, I'm going to do this because I'm good and I can fix anything. And that's great. That's a great mentality. But you also have to get help. You can't pretend to do everything on your own. You simply run out of time, run out of money. So you look for an opportunity, you find an opportunity, you go, you get buy-in from your board of directors, i.e. your family, and you say, trust me that this is going to work. And you go. And the first time it didn't work.
Yeah.
The first time you couldn't get there with the plan. So you got to make another plan, right? You didn't say, well, that was horrible. What a horrible experience. Oh, poor me. I put my family at risk. So you go through that for a couple of days, but you can't stay in space, right? And then you're like, okay, now what? Look for another solution. It's 7 times as much money as the first solution that didn't work. You're like, I'm not doing that. I'm not taking 7 times the risk.
Right.
So what do? I got to figure this thing out because I think it's important enough. And there you are. You become the solution.
Yeah.
So now you say, okay, you start building this thing, and then what happens?
Well, and the what was happening at the same time, though, and you made mention to this in today's landscape, it's difficult to not be entrepreneurial with the resources, the tools that are available today. I mean, you're familiar with AI. You're familiar with everything that's coming down the line here. There are so many opportunities today, more than we could have ever imagined years and years ago. But what I was doing is I was building Village Connect, right? Because I had to teach myself. So this thing was ugly. The thing that I built was pretty ugly, but I was teaching, right? It was painful. It was very time consuming. I wanted to get it out as soon as possible. This is before COVID, right before COVID. I wanted to get it out, because I could see a need for it even before COVID. But I was teaching myself yet another skill, right? As I wanted to build this solution that I thought would help anybody else that moved to the area have this resource available. I was
awesome.
So that's the systemization of and studying your business to that point where what happens A through Z at every point, every turn, that you can do that kind of transition, and I enjoyed that. That was cool, just going through that process and knowing that we stopped on Friday, started on Monday, So
that's amazing. That is amazing.
It was good stuff. So much fun. But yeah, then I moved to Florida, and then it was time, to find out what the next chapter was. Now with my son, as you said, as women, we start to do the juggling, because the bug never goes away. The curiosity, the interest in business, the interest in the next project, that never goes away. It's in you. It's who you are. So trying to marry that along with being mommy and being everything in the world to your child and spending quality time and all of that starts to come to fruition. So I became a consultant. Now that the business was sold, I became a consultant, business process consultant, to help other businesses start to do the same. So if I was able to systemize the business to a point that we did what we did, then I could possibly use those skills and those tools that I've learned, to do the same. And so I started doing some consulting and generating some income to support the family. But again, the entrepreneurial thing starts to nug at you, And I felt like after doing some consulting, there's something else that I needed, and that was I saw when I first moved here that I couldn't find local businesses, and I'm a big proponent for supporting local businesses. They're my neighbors, they're my friends. We know that those dollars go back into the same community that I'm raising my son in. So I know the importance of the karate teacher, for my son. I want to make sure that they're being supported. So how do I do that? How do I find the people that are here local? And I can go on search on Google, but we know how Google works, right? Whoever can pay to play
Yeah.
on the ad space is who gets ranked on top. So, and those are the big companies. So the people, the contractors that I was looking for when I first moved here. So, um, why can't I find? I see the landscaper. He's right across the street. He's got a sign on his truck, but I can't see the number. I can't get the number. We're doing the best we can. We're
Hmm.
literally doing the best we can. So, how come I can't find that landscaper? And so that's where Village Connect was born. Where I started to identify local businesses that I knew were here so that I can give them my business as I was trying to, get the house in order since we just moved here and everything. And so it started with a list of all the businesses that I had worked with, all the contractors, the guy who had done the tile in the bathroom. And I'm like, well, if I have this list, I'm sure everyone else needs the same list, so then I started a directory, again, throughout that process, I had learned how to, work with different applications and those kinds of things. So I started my business directory. And I think within a year, I started to see where this could go because, again, with my consulting and my process background, I started to identify businesses might need a little bit more help than just being identified on the list. So I started to meet more and more businesses, and I got a quote. Right, I wanted to build an application out, so I got a quote from a company out in Colombia, right, to help me build my concept because even though I had a technical background, I had never built an application before, but I had this vision of what the application could be, and I needed somebody to be able to put that together for me. So, got the quote. It was, 20 odd some $1,000,
Hmm.
and so of course I sold my family, on this concept that more people need this kind of thing. So we all went in for it, what is it about? We got 3 months into the project and we had completely expended the entire budget and I only had 1/4 of the concept that I had.
Yikes.
So that was a huge hit to the ego because I thought for sure that I could pull this off, with the budget that I was given. And so that was a moment again, another fork in the road, where that took me a while to recover from, that how could I have failed to that extent? How did I miscalculate so badly that I never even got the project off the ground, you know? So, you know, uh, you go through your depression stage,
Hmm.
the I'm horrible stage, the I'm a bad parent, you know, all of that happens. But then one morning you get up and you're like, what's next? I'm still going to figure this out. That wasn't the way for me to do it. So I got another quote and it was $175,000 to
Oh, there you
build
go.
out
More
my
money.
concept. That's better, right? Right. So I'm like, okay, this thing is never going to happen. So what do you do? Well, teaching myself yet another skill to put on my resume. And that was the ability for me to code and develop applications and software. Right. So I built my first application. It was ugly, but COVID happened. We wanted to launch it at the 2020 was when we wanted to launch it. COVID hit us. It wasn't ready. And here we are in the middle of all of this where the businesses were struggling, right?
Hmm.
What an opportunity to have this thing available because the restaurants were closing. We were not able to communicate with the restaurants because they had food. They just couldn't get it to us. But remember, we couldn't come into the restaurant. You
Right.
had to pick it up. And so there was a disconnect between the community and our small businesses on the way we could help each other. And just yet another area that I thought uh, an application like this could help us so much because if we were in touch with our small businesses, we would know, hey, listen, I've got some extra, toilet paper in the back,
Hmm.
because we expected to have X volume here this past month, but COVID is here. Nobody's in the restaurant. I got tons of toilet paper. How do we get that to the residents that were trying to get toilet? Things like that. That level of connectivity was what I saw we were lacking in way back when. We were unprepared, not lacking in, but unprepared.
Yeah.
And that's where I really believe that in this day and age, with people living 90% of their lives in that 20-mile radius, that the level of connectivity that we need with our businesses and one another should be on another level for sure. That's within the first 20 miles. After that, it may not be in my day-to-day experience, but day to day in a 20-mile radius, when I need my businesses, and we all need them, we all depend so heavily on our small businesses in the area. When I need them, they should be a button away, a phone. Literally, I should not have to go searching on Google. I shouldn't have to go, looking through Angie's list, which is amazing, but that's not necessarily local, and maybe some other tools as well. But it's just another level of connectivity that I really believe in that we need. But that was part of that journey, is trying to figure that out. But come COVID, instead of, I had the application, wasn't necessarily ready. Well, I jumped on Facebook and just started saying, hey, I started calling the restaurants, hey, what do you have? I can start sharing it out on my group, what you have. And I shared it out on the group. It was, I needed to do something. I think a lot of people felt that way during that time. There was a big, giant problem. I needed to do something to help, and I didn't know what,
Mm-hmm.
So I just started calling restaurants and finding out their hours and finding out what their, do they have curb pickup, and sharing that out so the businesses wouldn't suffer. So at least they could keep, some activity, even if it was a little order here and there, and they didn't have to completely shut down. And even so, post-COVID, look at how many businesses they lost, So with that in mind and that experience, I really believe we will be ready next time, and there will be a next time.
Of course.
Maybe not to that extent, but there will be something, Our friends up north are currently experiencing that right now, with Helene. That community is so important. What do they say? I think if all else is going crazy in the world, who do we have to depend on first? Your neighbor, your community, right? Because we take care of each other first, because we're accessible. And so if you don't have that connectivity in place, that structure, that process in place, right? Where do we go when things go awry, right? So what's the system? What's the process? Because it will,
So you build Village Connect to solve a problem that you have, and then realize that others benefit from the solution as well. Connect. That's something that a lot of us, including myself, before knowing you, I didn't realize that most people live, 90% of their lives within 20 miles of where they live, or they do everything. They do life, right? Within 20 miles of where they live. And you start thinking about it, that makes sense, right? That's why you have Starbucks where they are. That's why you have, the grocery stores where they are. And you're like, well, there's a grocery store over there. Yeah, but that's still in another circle, another 20-mile circle. So Village Connect exists to connect people to the local businesses in their communities. That's what it exists for. So it's up and running. VillageConnect.com. Is that the
VillageConnect.life.
Life? Life. F-E. So I'm going to put that in the notes of this episode. Live.
Life.
F-E. Life. As in life. So people can take a look and see what it's all about, and take advantage of this resource that is at their fingertips. I love what you said. When I need something, that something should be one button away, one click away from getting it in 2024, right? That's what we expect.
Yeah.
So from two angles, I want people to visit VillageConnect.life to see what it looks like. And if you own a business, an entrepreneur, and you're in the local area that Village Connect serves, consider becoming part of that community and joining the directory is really simple and easy to do, and you can do it yourself. You don't need to call Daisy for this. You can do it yourself. So, knowing that exists, what's next? What has you excited, Daisy, about what's the next step in Village Connect and or any other thing that's on your pipeline?
Yeah. Well, outside of, watching my son grow, that excites me every day. But I mean, Village Connect has got me excited. That, as we mentioned earlier, the possibilities are just endless, And again, maybe this is a little bit of that entrepreneurial thing going on because I could just see, wow, we could do this, we could do that, And I think sometimes people are a little like surprised by how excited I can still be, even after so many years. But with that Village Connect, of course, we have our business directors. But again, we're looking to connect on another level. So that introduces the ability for us to collaborate, right? Business to business collaboration, business to resident collaboration. So businesses have opportunities and offers, things that they need help with. We should be able to communicate those things effectively for our residents so that they can connect. We have positions. Again, our residents should almost be our priority, right? When we're looking for resources, we're looking to hire. Well, we've got to find the people that are looking for work, right here in this area. Why would we be posting a job downtown when the job is here in this particular area, right? Or something like that. So all of those modules and capabilities are now built into Village Connect. So businesses can go in there and say that they're looking for sponsorship for a particular event that's coming up. And we would share that out to all the other business owners so that they would know what's possible. Some businesses are looking to get some more brand awareness or exposure, and they're looking for community, ways of doing that. Well, there it is listed, okay, now I know that this particular business has a sponsorship opportunity. Let me take advantage of that, and then think about it this way too. The next phase is now marketplaces. Each community should have its own small business support local marketplace. For me, if I'm looking for something, why shouldn't I look local first? And if I can't find that, locally first, then go elsewhere. But I
You know
can't
what?
do
People
that.
don't shop local first. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
They can't find them.
Yeah. Yes.
That's really it. That's
Yes.
my experience. I can find
Mm-hmm.
a Walmart a lot faster than I can find a local farmer's stand, as an example.
That's exactly right. That's the issue. That's the problem that we're hoping to solve is why is it so difficult? And we know, you and I know, we're small business owners. It's difficult for us to pay those high advertising dollars in order to
Hmm.
get positioning, right? We can't do that. So who's our advocate? Who is pushing us? And that's what I'm looking to hopefully accomplish, with everyone's help, of course, but that's the level of connectivity we should have. I should be able to have some place where if I'm doing Christmas shopping, right, I should look local first, support them, and if I'm not able to find what I'm looking for, then of course we use our traditional ways to do it. But we can't do that if we don't have it, right? If we
It
don't
makes
have the
sense.
solution.
That makes
Mm-hmm.
sense, and I think that's very useful. And I think everything in life is cyclical. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that we went through. Everything's got to be face to face. To I don't want to look at you anymore. It's got to be online.
Yeah.
To now we can't trust 90% of what we see online. So I want to see face to face. Or I don't trust the big Well, it used to be I trust only big companies because they have the big
Mm-hmm.
resources. Now I don't trust them because I know more about them, so I'm less trustful. I want to shop
Yeah.
local. So everything's cyclical. And I think we're in the
Mm-hmm.
cyclical of I need somebody who I can trust. And I
Yes.
need someone who I can trust in my community. I think that's where it's
Mm-hmm.
going. I think that's where we are. What's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
trailing is our ability to connect quicker to
Yes.
to that community.
That's a great point. That's a great point. And at the beginning of the year, we had done a survey, with the groups that I have, and we asked our community, what keeps you from supporting a local business? Number one, I can't find them. You're right. That's exactly what you said. I can't find them. Number two, there's a phone number here. I call the phone number, they don't answer. And then number three, I get information back. I get it on a text message, and I'm not sure. I just got this quote on a text message. I'm not sure if it's a legitimate company.
Mm,
So those are obstacles that we all need to, we need to address. We need to make sure that we're coming across as legitimate businesses. We're going through the process of verifying businesses for our residents so that they know, hey, these guys are on Sunbiz. So this is a legitimate company. They've been in business for 12 years. We're giving them the stats in order to make the decisions. The best thing that we can do to support local businesses, the reviews, right? Once you use a local business, we have to review that local business, online, and it can't be done only when we're upset, right? A review can help a small business in so many different ways because it establishes the business. It supports them. It lets other people know that this is a legitimate company that's interested in providing a quality product or service. And if we don't do those reviews, that's what hurts. Yeah, that's what hurts a lot. But
interesting.
what was really cool though is that the residents in the group. I mean, one guy had written 3 or 4 paragraphs. I'm needing this. I mean, so
Yeah,
our residents want us to be the businesses that they want us to be. They want us to be top notch. So
and I
that's
think
good.
and there's nothing wrong with expecting that, and there's nothing wrong. It's a very possible to be that level, be at that level,
Yeah,
and as a small business with
I agree.
everything, all the resources that we have to make that happen today. So it's up to us. We can't say, well, we're small, bear with me. No, the
No,
consumer doesn't buy that anymore.
I
You
agree.
know,
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
So it's
Yeah.
amazing. I think you said something that I wanted to address. You said, how can some people may question, well, how come you're as excited about this project as you were years ago when you started it? I
Mm-hmm,
see it very obviously. Number one, that you keep moving the target, right? So
mm-hmm,
the target gets further ahead and that pulls you forward and it gets you excited. It used to be just,
yeah.
let me get you a directory that works. Now
Mm-hmm,
it's like,
mm-hmm,
how do I connect to the consumers and the residents? Then
mm-hmm,
how do I connect the businesses one to one another? And how do we
mm-hmm,
make
mm-hmm.
this better and more sophisticated so there's trust in the system
Right.
and there's trust, was it two-way trust, right? I trust the
Mm-hmm.
merchant and I trust the resident who buys from the merchant. That's
Right.
what gets anybody excited. You keep moving the goalpost, you know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's a
Yeah.
it's a bigger
Yeah.
thing, and quite frankly, that's the reason, one of the reasons why entrepreneurs succeed versus those who do not. The
Mm-hmm.
One of the characteristics of those who do not succeed is that they go. The struggle kills their enthusiasm,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
when you're really committed to a goal that is worthy and has the possibility of changing the quality of life not only for you but for those around you, you don't get disappointed. I mean, you get
Yeah.
disappointed, but you don't get discouraged. You know,
Discouraged. Yeah.
and what happens is a lot of entrepreneurs, they get hit in the face and they're like, oh my god, this is so much
Yeah.
difficult, and they quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ones that succeed said, wow, that was painful, but
Right.
that target over there is more important than this temporary moreton, bruise that I have on my
Mm-hmm.
face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And and uh this passionate feeling for this concept, um, is such a big deal for me personally. I have a full-time job. I'm a business consultant. I still have clients that I build applications for with the new skills that I've developed as a result of Village Connect, right? I still do process improvement. So um, there's been many times, right, where and a lot of us might be in this situation. Um, I could just stick with the consultant and make good money there and be comfortable. But it's something I always like. What is it about this other concept that keeps pulling me back, right? Like, you have the ability to possibly go to corporate, and make great money. But it doesn't pose the challenge, and what is it, uh, the what if. It doesn't
Mhm.
meet your what if need. What
Mm.
if we can do this? What if together we can do that? What if we push the envelope a little bit more? You know,
Yeah.
um, I love my clients. I have amazing clients. I do well with my consulting business. Um, but I'm still looking for the what if, the next step. Let's try the next thing, and this kind of keeps me, this is what Village Connect is, what I want to do. I always say when I grow up, this is where I want to be, doing that full time for sure.
No, that's amazing. It's a great story. Like I said before, there's never been a better time to launch an entrepreneurial idea or concept, and I
Hmm.
would encourage anyone I live in the world of ant. If you have a corporate job that is good for you and you're good for it, I'm not saying
Yeah.
quit that and become an entrepreneur. What I'm saying is consider doing both. Consider
Yeah.
doing something that fulfills you in a different way if you have an
Hmm.
entrepreneurial bone in your body. This is
Right.
not about quitting and starting from zero. I don't
Hmm.
recommend that for anybody. I think there's a lot of rhetoric and a lot of misinformation out there about, oh, a job is just over broke and all these negative things about people that have a job. You never hear me say that,
No,
because I
me
believe
neither.
that
Me neither.
we should be thankful of having employment. We should be thankful that someone took a chance on us. We should be thankful for that opportunity to not only produce something of value, but also get paid for producing that
Hmm.
something of
Hmm.
value. I think we're taking a risk either way.
Yeah.
And so I don't ever poo poo on people who say, well, I just have a job. Just a job. That's a big deal. That is a
Yeah.
big deal. So we should
That's
be
a
thankful
big
for that.
deal.
Now, having been an employee and an employer, I have a broader picture, right? How important that relationship is. Now, that being said, there's plenty of time in people's lives for those who are committed to develop an
Hmm.
idea, to develop an entrepreneurial concept, to do both.
Hmm.
People
Hmm.
say, "Well, I'm doing too much. I'm too tired." Okay, sure, that could be true.
Sure.
But there's 162 hours in a week, and most people
Yeah.
don't use those. We waste a lot
Hmm.
of time. So if
Yeah.
you have something that you're committed to, that you passionate about, that you have skills around, I think
Hmm.
you're doing yourself a disservice not to explore that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're an example of doing just that. I mean, you from corporate America to business ownership to exiting a business successfully, which a lot of people
Hmm.
don't know. They say, well, I exited that business because it sounds nice. That means they quit
Hmm.
or they shut down.
Yeah.
No, you exit it. Exit it means you
Hmm.
leave and the business continues. That's
Right.
what exit means.
Hmm.
And then going into a consulting situation or opportunity and doing Village Connect, those are two ventures that are amazingly enough, they're tied. They're
Hmm. Yeah.
symbiotic. They're
Yeah.
symbiotic. So that's one of the concepts that I learned along the way. I think you can have, let's say, your job, and you can have an entrepreneurial thing. They should be pretty close aligned. There should be some
Hmm.
alignment,
Hmm.
unless you really, really, really hate the job that you have,
Yeah.
and hate the environment, or hate or dislike the industry. But this should be
Hmm.
aligned, because if you're trying to, I don't know, sell software over here and I don't know, install solar panels over here, they're not symbiotic. It's very, very difficult to
Yeah.
do that.
Hmm.
You divide your attention, you divide your effort, and that's what people burn out, because
I
there's no
agree.
there's no synergy. So I'm going on a tangent here, but all that to say is that there's never been a better time to develop an idea. There's never been a better time to launch an entrepreneurial endeavor. There's never been a time to plug into something that's already working.
Hmm.
To plug
Hmm.
into an opportunity that's already working. Um, so Daisy, thank you for sharing your story. We took us through a journey that I think a lot of people can benefit from, to see themselves in you, to
Hmm.
see themselves in your story, to see themselves in your ups and downs, and to see themselves winning like you're winning. So
Hmm.
anything else that you want to share with our audience before we part ways today?
No, you know what? I mean, just your point about the never a better time. You and I are both entrepreneurs, and we would love the opportunity to talk to anyone, right, about their inquiry, their interest in being an entrepreneur. I mean, there are so many resources available, so much experience, and this is one thing that I always tell, anyone that I talk to, with regard to Village Connect. There's so much expertise in our particular, in your community, in our community, um, and they are willing to talk. And no, it's not. There's not a fee for that, right?
Mhm.
This
Not
is
yet,
free.
right? Just kidding.
Not yet, but but an entrepreneur, we always want to talk about an idea, and learnings that we've had. Oh, wait a minute, don't forget, you want to make sure that you get registered on this, that, and the other right away. Oh, here's another a tool that I think that you could use really well. I mean, that is free advice that if we're not taking it in as a new entrepreneur, uh, but it's going to be a tough road, right? Because there's been a lot of us that have gone through a lot of pain, over
Yeah,
these years and successes, that maybe you can save yourself a couple hours,
great
couple
point.
hours.
Great point.
Yeah.
And I find myself asking the young entrepreneurs or the one-upreneurs, right? Those who desire
Hmm.
to become. When they ask me a question, I said, "Do you want to feel good about the answer? Do you want to feel good about what you believe, or do you want the truth?"
Right.
And because sometimes it's like it's a shot to the ego. People think
Hmm.
that they know everything, and because they have this idea that they thought of in their back room of their house, and they think no one's ever thought this before. There are
Right.
very
Right.
few things that are new today. I
I
haven't
agree.
found anything that is really a new idea.
Yeah.
The innovation comes from doing what exists better and making things
Yeah.
simpler, easier, more affordable, and connecting people
Hmm.
in a more efficient way. I think that's where the innovation comes. But it's
Yeah.
nothing really new. Very few
I agree.
things. So anyway, I think you make a great point. There are resources out there. There are people who are willing to help. Have an open mind, be coachable, willing, be hungry,
Hmm.
and you'll find the answers. Live
Yeah.
and learn through other people, and learn through
Yep.
yourself and through other people. It's a lot faster that way, and a lot less painful. Trust me.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
Daisy Ramirez, Village Connect. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for making time for this. I appreciate you. I appreciate our friendship. I appreciate you as the example of what is possible. And if everyone who's connected today has found value in this conversation, I'm asking you simple things. You'd like, share, and subscribe. Like the post, share the content with your community, and subscribe to LatProXperience, because the purpose of this podcast is to have conversations like this about entrepreneurial success through the Latino lens. We aren't enough. I shouldn't say there aren't enough stories like this. There are. We're just not talking about them the way we
Hmm.
should. We're not highlighting them the way we should. So we want to highlight this kind of story so you can see yourself in the story, so you can connect with people who are winning around you, see what is possible, and hopefully this will make you, inspire you, push you to take the next step that makes sense for you. So like, share, subscribe, LatProXperience. And until next time, this is Antonio Muñiz with Daisy Ramirez. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Antonio.